Breaking news from William Rochelle. Breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. Yeah, breaking news from William Rochelle. Living direct, here we go. Breaking news from William Rochelle. This is something you should know. This just in, don't miss the call. Your moments now, stand tall. This just in, hear the tone. Your mind sharp, your future grown. Breaking news from William Rochelle. Breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. This just in, thought of the day, fresh new mindset coming your way. This just in, clear and bright, new perspective, new life. Breaking news from William Rochelle.
Hey everyone, this is William Rochelle, but you can call me Bill, and this is my breaking news segment. There's several things I want to talk about today, and there have been several milestones that I've hit this week, but it's really been a journey for me. And what I've learned throughout this journey is to share, to open up, to be yourself and live your authentic life. What's occurred is that through my job search, and in the meantime, like in between submitting applications and doing that part of my life that requires some love and some attention, I was also quietly building something. And there were people out there like Lanier Johnston that said once, what if you're already doing the job you're supposed to do? Now, I want a traditional job. I mean, I've done the startup thing. I love it. But right now, this is my passion, but I don't want to mistake it for my income. So let's make sure that those two are separated. And I'm going to go ahead and be me. So let me tell you what's going on. Recently, I wanted to stop. I was kind of like, do I want to continue doing this hobby and this thing that's kind of keeping me a little bit sane in this crazy world? It occupies my day. It gives me something to look forward to, and it has been wonderful. But we all get into those moments where we question, what direction is our life supposed to go in? We all do that, right? And when you're in the middle of trying to figure out what direction your life is supposed to go in, and you're sending out applications, and unfortunately, you're not getting exactly what you need back. It gives you time to reflect. And during this journey, what I've discovered is myself. What has happened is I've gotten this appreciation for who I am, why I am, and have become more aligned with my internal and external self. Now, I haven't done this alone at all. I've done this with the support and with the guidance and with the nudging of a ton of people that have made me look at what I'm doing and to focus and concentrate on the things in my life that are a priority. I want to thank everybody out there that has been a part of this journey, because seen or unseen, the journey has not been easy. And when you're rebuilding your life, you have to unpack everything. And when you're unpacking everything, the room looks dirty. The room looks not dirty, but yeah, it's a mess. Thinking about taking everything out and then realigning it. So there's a little bit of chaos in there, but it takes a very special person or type of energy to tell someone to stop, drop, and roll, to understand where you're at, to refocus and look at yourself. Part of that journey was Gina Ballerin. And it's very, very interesting how God brings people into your life at a specific point. Gina and I had a conversation. If you want to see that, go back to the replays. But within that conversation, she asked me a couple of questions. And the first question was, has anyone seen you like this before? And I was like, what do you mean? And I was basically falling into a depression and self-soothing, which is not a good thing. And Gina shined a light on that. So as a part of this journey, she is a very integral part of where I was, where I am, and refocused me on what it is that was important to me. So for that, I can never express the amount of gratitude I have for that, for her. Secondly, I will say this. In the interim, there were several things that happened in my life. And one of those things was, I will say this, it was the collaboration that I had with Aaron Gibson. And the reason why that's so important is because in that moment, in that very moment, I was not sure of whether or not I had the creative energy. I was feeling stagnant. Hold on for a second. I have a dog that's screaming. Back to me. He's going crazy on the couch. This is why all my pillows always look bad, because I have 200 pounds worth of dog that wants to jump and anyway. This is important. So what that moment represented to me was a shift. And it gave me something to look forward to. It was so interesting because I don't want to stand alone. I like collaborating with people. That is what I like. I like building teams, and I enjoy saying, all right, we did this, not I. So as we look at things, and as I look back on my journey, I would say, and I think I've said this on some of my recent posts, but to me, this is not a singular win right now. This is a collective win from everyone that has sat and held me up and pulled me out of whatever I was going through. With that said, the reason why Aaron Gibson's show or that collaboration was so important is because it gave me this drive, this energy, this refocus, raised the bar on what I'm doing, and I have never gone back. So once that bar was lifted, and it's very interesting. We'll talk about that later. But once that bar was lifted, I continued to lift it. And Aaron and Melissa will probably say, we didn't do anything. We just kind of said you had it in you. And that is why I felt the need to really celebrate the coaches, the people that are out there that have provided a lifeline, some guidance, and some support throughout this journey. After that show, crazy as it is, I got a phone call, and that phone call was from my current life coach, professional coach, hiring plan coach, like everything. And that's Melissa Houston. And she has pushed me in ways that I never thought I needed. What does that mean? It means that her way of working, her way of communicating is unique and customized to each person. I called her today. I didn't call her, sorry. I texted her today, and this was my exact text. I hate applying for jobs. And within 2 minutes, I had a phone call. And it was get your ass back on that thing. Stop doing the stuff that you love, which is the creative part. But it is wonderful to have someone who says, I got you no matter what. It is great to have a relationship where you speak to someone and they don't ask you, when was the last time you posted something for me? We'll keep that one to ourselves as well. But with that said, I would like to bring Gina up and talk to her about her program and who she is, because she is gold. She is wonderful. She has stood by my side even when there were some tensions. And she said, hey, I just want you to know I'll show up for you. I am showing up for you. And boy, for that, I can never thank you enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Gina Ballerin. Oh, wait, I have an applause button. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm messing up. Hold on. Here it goes. There we go, Gina. So we all see things through our own lens. And I just described how I saw you and what you have done. I would love, like, I'll throw to you, Gina. Go ahead.
I think the question you're asking, Bill, is what did I see in you and what do I see in you now? Absolutely. And I'll try to keep this concise, because when Bill and I first connected, he was raw and vulnerable. And I said, I can help you. Because he'd had issues with communication. He'd been on shows with friends, people he trusted, people he liked, where he couldn't get the words out. Now, I'm a communication coach. My area of expertise is in understanding what comes out of your mouth or out of your pen. How do people read that? How do they perceive that? And therefore, to dig beneath the surface and go, right, what's going on that is fueling those messages, and unpicking that process. Now, as part of that process, I could identify that something was wrong with Bill. And one day he showed up to a call and he didn't sound right. I said, Bill, are you okay? Are you sure you want to carry on with this? And he almost had to convince me, yes, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. But the reason I asked that question was not because I didn't think Bill was serious about beginning, but about whether the timing was right, because timing is everything. And the problem here is that not that people can't be coached, that they don't want to be coached, but there is this barrier that we all have in our heads. And in my context, in communication context, if we have something going on here or here or here or in our guts that prevents us from speaking, then we stop ourselves. And it means that when I work with people who have big brains and big hearts, they also have to have big balls.
Go ahead, communications.
That does not mean that they have to be men, but it means that they have to be brave and they have to be ready. And that is a moment in time where you go, I've had enough of whatever it was that happened before. I am now taking ownership of who I am and where I am and where my journey's going. And so Bill and I worked together to unpack what was going on in his life, where he was. And eventually I said to him, Bill, let's just get this clear. Like, you're working with me as a communication coach to help address some issues that you had with communication in a job interview context, on a performance interview context. But you want a job. This is the problem. The problem is not that you're trying to prepare for a speech. The problem is not that you're trying to inspire and influence 1,000 people every single day, because that's what you do, because that's what makes you come alive, which it is. Mm-hmm. But what I said to Bill is, Bill, are you using this amazing thing that you do, UBU Live, as a way of preventing applying for jobs? Mm. And I know that feeling because I've done that. It's really easy to avoid the thing that you know you have to do by doing the thing that you want to do, because it doesn't feel like it. Because it feels like you're doing something productive and engaging, not realizing that, in fact, you are just finding a way of avoiding reality. And so When Bill told me that he'd found someone to help him with his career search, I was delighted. Because for me, we need to find the right people at the right times in our lives. Every box has a lid.
Absolutely.
And now I'm starting to see Bill show up, not just with truth and vulnerability, which he always has, but showing up with the ability to focus on what he really wants.
Absolutely.
And that is getting a job. And so
Yes.
he's found someone who can be with him every step of the way, someone who can hold him accountable, someone who can say, you know, how many jobs have you applied for? What are you doing differently? Have you made the calls to people? Have you reached out to your connections? Have you told them that you're looking? All of these things I know about because I've been a job seeker, because I've been someone who manages and hires people. But there's a different thing being on the ground, in the context, understanding the roles, understanding the hiring processes in your country.
Absolutely.
The Bill needed from someone on the ground. Now, when he comes back to me again and tells me that he's ready to stop
Do a
preparing
TED
for that,
Talk.
he's going to deliver. Yes.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk again.
Yes.
And when Bill is standing in front of an audience at his new job and going, you know what, Gina, I love this, but I feel like something's missing, we'll talk again. And when Bill has employees who are good, but they're not ready to go to the next level of their career because they just can't articulate their message clearly. They can't inspire people to rise up, to create something new, to bring people in to that beauty. We'll talk again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I shared this with you earlier today. Did I just say this or not? Because I hate repeating myself. And we had a talk, but what you just said was exactly what I think that Melissa sees is my passion. The fun part is doing this. And is that avoidance for doing the thing that is harder, the part that is more, it's the part of my life I need to concentrate on right now, is getting income at this moment, right? And to, you know, feel seen and feel heard and all those great things. I tend to want to do the videos, do the music, because that, you know, but it's not really where I need to be in this moment. I will continue it. And I love it because it is like therapy and it is a part of me that I think is going to continue to grow. But I also need to balance it. Mm-hmm. And that's where getting that kick in the butt, getting that, hey, I know you just said you hate applying, but this is the 10 reasons why you need to.
Yeah.
And she sent me like 7 job listings that have you applied for this one? I'm like, oh shit. And then she asked, I'm sorry. And then she asked me, so how many you get through today? Well, I just gave you 7 and you have to do 10 a day. So are you going to do 17 or are you just going to do the 7? Mm-hmm. So it is something that absolutely build both, but balance is important. Absolutely. One of the things that I would like to touch on is this. I believe right now, especially here in the United States, life coaches, professional coaches there's such a value in that. I don't think that a lot of people understand the difference. I don't think people get it. I think a lot of us have built our careers on motivating others. There's a difference between motivating Gina, because I can do that today. Right now, I can like get you hyped up. But there's a difference when you're taking that mirror, like Melissa did, and she held it up and said, "This is what I see."
I think any good coach should be able to do that. Any good coach should be able to see the unseen.
But the question is this: tell me why it is that I didn't, or a lot of people don't invest in themselves. Because what I think people like right now, I think the best Christmas gift I can give somebody is Melissa or you or you know what's right for that person.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraging people right now because the times are so rough. And if you're going to spend $1,000 on Christmas gifts and there's someone in your household that is unemployed and is going to do this, I would say it's like teaching someone how to fish instead of buying them the food. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. You know, I've been listening to people for decades, not just like, how are you doing? Oh, that's interesting. And there's a difference between listening to reply and listening to engage. And I think the answer to your question, which was, why don't people invest in themselves, comes down to what we expect, what we were taught, what's okay behavior, and sometimes down to childhood trauma. And part of that means that if you were ever in a circumstance where you felt like it was not okay to ask for things, it was not okay to invest in yourself, it was not okay to just back yourself 100%, then that's why people don't invest in coaching and training. But there's also a stigma about it, because you have to be vulnerable enough to admit that you need help before you're prepared to pay to get it, right?
Yes, and just really quick, guys. This is not a bash against anyone, but sometimes, for me, your family's not the one to give you that coaching. For me,
oh hell yeah,
it hits differently when it comes from a non-objective person, and everyone has good intentions, but part of what was having me spiral, if I can say that, is that feeling that your family will give you that says, why haven't you found anything yet?
Mm-hmm.
Or that I'm not trying.
Yeah.
Or that I think I am too good for to work as a receptionist. I'll do anything. I mean, and there's two different things, and you're going to say this too right now. What message am I putting out there? Right? So if I say I'll do anything, then that scares people. Right? But that's not really the message I'm trying to put out. What I'm saying is I don't have an ego, and there's no job too big or too small.
Well, Bill, everyone has an ego. Technically, it's part of our makeup. Psychologically, we all have an ego.
Down.
But
So y'all see that?
Whether you have an ego that is driving your behavior, or whether you're actually going, I'm removing my ego from the situation, because it doesn't matter to me whether I am working in a C-level position, which I previously worked in, or whether I get a job as a barista. I'd love to be a barista because I love helping people, is what you told me.
Do you know what? So the same thing. So Melissa keeps telling me to go to Starbucks. You know, you're a very social person. You know, you get the coffee, and I'm like, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
And it's not a bad idea, because if we crave human interactions, and I suspect you are an extrovert who's been forced to be an introvert, you might be an ambivert. So the point is that this is about where you get your energy from. It's not actually about how you show up in the world. One of the most poignant books I ever read, I actually read during COVID, was Quiet. The power of introverts in a world that can't stop talking. And I realized at that moment that I am in fact an introvert, because I get my energy being alone, reading books, having quiet talks with people, walking, being outside in nature, but I give it away when I'm with people. So I'm technically an ambivert. Extrovert in that you see me as an extrovert, introvert in that I receive my energy from being alone. But it's a hard thing being in the public domain, because if you're giving, then you got to take that time to recuperate and to kind of restore yourself. And so, Bill, if you are an extrovert, and that means you get energy from other people, then being alone on your own has got to be soul destroying.
It honestly, it is. And so I don't know if you saw it, but I said one of the biggest things I regret is not working on my personal life. My companionship, someone to share my home with, right?
Yeah.
And the reason behind that is revealed on last week's episode. There's been so many revelations. So go ahead and check that out, because I don't want to be the poster child for certain events, right? I've already done that part, so we don't need to harp on it. But what I will say is work And the excitement of building things
Mm.
has almost been the same thing that you guys are pointing out. It's a distraction.
Mhm.
And I've always worked like 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has been a distraction
Mm.
regarding that thing that is harder for me, which is that personal relationship.
Yeah.
So when I've been dived into a company, I'm all in. I'm going to drive it to the next level. I'm going to be there, 16 hours a day. I had a couch in my office. I slept on it. It wasn't a casting couch. Sorry about that. But I would, because the company was growing so fast, and we would deploy things at 2 o'clock in the morning, and my department had to test everything before 8 o'clock in the morning, so it wouldn't disrupt
But this is not
our.
sustainable, Bill. And this is
Yeah,
what you're realizing now, that this new version of your world is an extreme version that's forcing you to change and to reassess. And I'm going to come back to communication for a second, because part of what you are communicating by doing that, by putting yourself in a position where you are not living sustainably, is that it's okay for your employees to do the same, that it is an acceptable standard to expect, and that the rest of the world, this is normal. And I don't live in America, so I don't know firsthand what it feels like to be part of that hustle culture.
yeah,
But I have worked with startups, and I do know what it feels like to be someone who's behind the scenes driving things. And it took a lot. It took a rude awakening for me. I had to burn out after working so many hours that, honestly, if my husband hadn't brought me food to my desk, I don't think I would have eaten.
yeah,
And that burnout made me realize, right, something's wrong. Something is wrong, and I need to change the way I am engaging with the world. But there is also that element of guilt. If you've been raised in a situation where you believe that you have to give 24/7, you have to be on 24/7, you have to be an extrovert all the time and not give yourself that time to rebuild and recover your energy, then it's understandable that you will force yourself to get to that position where burnout happens. And what happens as a result is that when you're on the other side of it, you've spent your life being so busy that you don't know who you are if you're not busy. Of course, that's going to be a shocking set of circumstances. But you got there,
absolutely,
Bill. You got there to
absolutely.
say, this is not okay. I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I want to go to the next level. And you know why you didn't find a job at Starbucks? Well, there might be multiple reasons. Number one might be because whatever fate, the universe, your higher power
Yes,
says, Bill, this is not for you. Something else is for you. Something better is coming. But the other reason might be you didn't really want it. Because I know you well enough to say that if you want something, nothing on earth will stop you. But I don't know how badly you want this thing that is a new version of you in a job. If you want that Starbucks job, you will make it happen. You'll find a way. You'll be there, and first thing in the morning, you'll have a conversation with the manager. You'll say, hey, let me just volunteer for a couple of hours. You'll hang around the coffee shop. You'll start carrying the cups back to the counter. You'll replenish the stocks without being asked. You'll make friends with the baristas. You'll learn how to do barista stuff in your part-time, because that's what you would do, because you
yes.
really, really want it. And so my question to you, coaching aside, is how badly, not do you need it, but how badly do you want it? I'll be honest, I want to touch people who, by changing their communication skills, can change the world. If you could put Bill Gates in front of me right now and I could help him improve his communication skills, I could create ripples in the universe.
You guys already do
It
that.
doesn't have
You
to
do.
be Bill Gates.
Right. Right.
My point is that there are people who have the ability to put themselves out there in a world that is beautiful and articulate and creates impact and change, but they don't know it, or they doubt it, or they're so obsessed by finding exactly the right word or exactly the right moment that they forget that they've got to be human.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeremy. Leadership is so important, and so is love. I could not put that better myself, because part of being in a coaching relationship with someone is, this is contentious.
Go
You've
ahead.
got to fall a little bit in love with the person that they will be in future. Not them as they are now, but the person that you see. And when I talked earlier about how great coaches can see things that aren't there, great coaches can hear things that someone is not saying. This is my special gift, is seeing the extraordinary so clearly that there is no doubt in my mind that it exists. Literally no doubt. I see Bill in a position of leadership again. I don't know where that position of leadership is, but I know that his energy, his spirit, his passion, his zest for life is soaring in a context where he can make that influence happen. And you're doing it now, Bill, but I know that there is a way you will be remunerated for this natural talent that you have.
Don't use big words because I don't.
You'll be paid. You'll be paid to be yourself and to inspire people. I know it's happening. I just don't know when. And the point is that sometimes, if you believe in messages from the universe,
I do.
You'll know that one of the things you can control is your actions. You can control your attitude. You can control the way you speak to yourself and to others. You can control what you will and will not accept. But there is one thing you cannot control, and that is timing.
Yep. What's so interesting about that, and let's just stop for a second, is the timing. So you showed up when I was a freaking mess, and you were right on time. And Gina's not pretending. She literally said, "Is now the time?" I'm like, "Why are you resisting me right now?" And she was like, "Okay, if you want to do it." The reason why I wanted to do it is because I had come to the realization in that moment that I was a mess. And I didn't want to continue. And so as you were saying, I don't know if this is the right time. I was saying, this is the perfect time because right now I need you. And those moments really did shift and change my journey. And the same thing with Melissa. I mean, the time that she reached out to me was right after the show I did with Aaron. The same thing with Aaron. When Aaron came along, I was ready to give up. Like I don't have, everything's starting to sound the same to me. My vision, everything. So there was timing. Had it reversed, I don't know if things would have worked out in alignment with the way it was supposed to, which to me, it was divine intervention. Now, I will share this and then we can let you close out. Because this is my 15-minute segment, but you know, you start talking to people.
Yeah, right.
And
we roll.
Oh shit, what was I saying? Oops, sorry. What was I saying?
You were talking about the divine timing.
Oh, yes. So last Sunday was the finale of my show for this season. It's going to come back in January. What people can expect from me are periodic, unannounced breaking news segments, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. It really depends on what it is. And breaking news can have several different meanings. It could mean this is going on in the world, or this is what I'm finding in my day. So it's really not technically news. It's things that I've kind of like, this is an epiphany. Mm-hmm. So you asked me, you just said, do you believe in the universe and do you believe in signs? So I'll share this. I closed on Sunday. On Monday, I woke up, and I think you may have seen it, but there was this post on YouTube that said you had 46,000 people view your channel in 28 days. And then this morning, I'm on a live, and Substack said, oh my God, you just hit 101 subscribers. And I'm like, I've been on there about 90 days, but I've only been pushing it for like the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. After the 23rd, I've been more active. And what that said to me in that moment is that I have created something without even thinking about it. This might sound crazy to you, but it reinforced that I can build something out of nothing and that I can take my moments, which this is a moment, and turn them into life-changing platform for everyone out there. And as I'm going through this journey, one of the things that I say continuously to people like Curtis Brooks, people like you, everyone. I told Curtis today, hang on, because he was like, oh, I'm really proud of you. I said, hold on, because I'm taking you with me. And he was like, okay, thanks. No, Curtis, I'm taking you with me. You and I are on Substack. I will continue to post your stuff, repost it, reshare it, and clap as if it were my own. And to me, I am someone who likes to give. It's hard for me to take. And you kind of nailed it on the head. And, you know, Melissa and Aaron and you are, everyone's kind of pushing me, except the compliment. Do you remember the lie thing?
Bill literally called me a liar when I gave him a compliment. Now, my values are authenticity. I was highly offended by being called a liar. But I also said, Bill, I'm not lying to you. I would never lie. Do you trust me? Do you respect me? Do you know me enough that I'm going to call a spade a spade? In which case, why would I lie to you? I realized that this has nothing to do with me. He's not actually calling me a liar because he thinks I am lying to him, except for the fact that he thinks
called you a liar
in this distorted way that me saying anything good to him cannot possibly be the truth. And that is part of the journey that people need to go through. Now, Bill, before we end, I just want to mention the fact that you might not believe in serendipity. You might not believe in the universe. You might not believe in timing. You might believe in logic and science and rigor and discipline and facts and statistics. And that is wonderful, because if you look at how the input that you put in and the output that you get, and you look at the plan that you have, every good leader and manager knows that if you want to achieve a result, you have to set the goal in the first place, which you did. You decided, I've had enough. I'm setting my goal. I want to achieve something new. And then every single leader or manager, person in a position of authority goes, I know how I want to achieve these goals. And they manipulate things, and they get people to do work, and they set the targets, and they create the ambitions for people to work and achieve those goals. And sometimes the goals aren't hit. But what happens is the intention behind the goal. And that arguably is more important than believing in the universe or timing or destiny. Because if you know what you want, and you know in your heart of hearts and your soul of soul that this is important, you will make it happen.
Absolutely.
What's 100%. The biggest mind shift for real life change, Brandon? It is to want something so badly that you can taste it. And sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. Sometimes you have to be able to believe in that thing so much that you overcome your own self-doubt. Because by faking until you make it, I don't mean to be inauthentic. What I mean is you force yourself to do the uncomfortable things because you know that the goal is bigger than the activities that are easy. And how can you be your true self every day, Jeffrey? Be honest enough to be able to look yourself in the mirror and go, I might not love you right now, but you are worthy of love. Thank you, Jackie.
Do you know how hard it is to look at yourself in the mirror? Like just sit there and stare at yourself?
Oh yeah. I mean, like every woman who's ever looked at the bags under their eyes or the wrinkles around, you know, or they're like, oh my God, my hair's not perfect. You know, I can only say this from a woman's perspective. To look at yourself and not like what you see is a fundamental flaw that I think every single one of us has, but it's also what drives us to be better. Not just to put the makeup over and to cover up the wrinkles and to wear, you know, put the anti-serum on at night, which if you look closely, you'll realize I don't believe in anti-serum, right? But the point is that it has to start by recognizing that that person who was so damaged that they stopped believing compliments can be a better version of themselves. Because why the hell not?
Absolutely.
Why shouldn't I be loved? Why shouldn't I be adored? Why shouldn't I get that job that means so much to me? Because if you want it enough, you will find the ways of planning the tasks and getting your army together and getting the people together who are going to support you along that journey. And that, Bill, is exactly what you've done.
Thank you.
You've brought together a secret army. The book's right there behind
Yeah.
me. You've brought together a secret army of people who've got your back.
Thank
And
you.
one of them is me.
I feel
And
it 100%. Before we go, I want you to gather your thoughts on how to contact you. And if, but I want to answer this question myself. But think about the contact information. Okay. Lori, what's one small step viewers can take today? And I'm going to say, start where you are with what you have.
Yeah.
Because I started with my laptop and AirPods. And I started listening to programs about microphones on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, this is boring. And I segued into a lane that was what I consider to be my own. Because really what I'm doing is I am unpeeling the layers, but I'm doing it so I can help other people. So think about, we're having this conversation that is healing, but we're doing it so that everyone can kind of get it lifted up and understand that whatever someone looks like on a stage or on their LinkedIn profile or whatever, there's a human behind that. And as humans, we all crave the same things once everything is removed. It's to be seen, heard, to be loved, to be acknowledged, and to have a value. So what I would say is to start where you are and never, ever, ever compete with someone else, because that's their race. So
I raise my eyebrow at that, because some people need competition. To be honest, for me, I found that I'm missing working with other people because I like being challenged. And it wasn't necessarily that I need to compare myself to others and say I'm failing. It was to actually realize, what is the benchmark and where do I sit within that? And to realize sometimes the things that I expect of myself are unrealistic. And honestly, actually looking at the benchmarks and going, oh, so that's what I can expect to achieve. What do I need to do differently to get there? Has been helpful for me. But don't compare yourself to others and going, well, he has the house and the car and the kids and the dog and the multi-millions, and go, well, I'm failing. I'm somehow less than. It's to be able to be aware that our different choices have led us to different places. And just because we may be in less than optimal circumstances doesn't make us bad humans. Doesn't make us less than. Now, you want to talk to me? You got to get on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Say, hey, Gina, let's connect. Now, not everyone can connect because you got to click 3 buttons instead of 1. Instead of pressing connect, you got to use the drop-down menu and say connect. Or reach out to Bill and say, hey, Bill, I want to talk to Gina. How do I get hold of her?
Put that in the subject line, by the way.
What?
Hey, Bill, I want to talk to Gina. That should be the subject line, because it will allow me to filter it. Because I'm getting thousands of
He's a popular dude, right?
I'm not.
Hey, Bill, I want to talk to Gina because it doesn't matter why, really. If you want to have a conversation with me, remember that my area of expertise comes from decades of communication, writing, speaking, storytelling, performance, understanding how what you say influences the people around you, but it also influences yourself. And understanding that the best communication we can do is to communicate to ourselves that it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay not to be on it all the time. But it's not okay to believe that and do nothing, because that means that the status quo will never change.
Absolutely. And with that, I'm going to take the final word. I'm going to say, I believe in competition between people. When I'm saying don't compete, it means don't look at what someone else is doing for me. From a business perspective, because you could be looking at what another company is doing and following them down the cliff. So I've always tried to make sure that I am aligned with who I am.
Yeah.
And to make sure that when I'm, for instance, Kinga and I, we can fight all the time. We have a very, very competitive kind of conversation, but it's a fun kind of, yeah, it's fun. It's not we're competing. We just have different views, and that is uplifting. So I enjoy that. I enjoy the collaborative effort. But with that said, one last anything. Oh, we're going to Substack, by the way, guys. If anyone wants to meet me, and I'm also applying for everything right now. So Melissa's going to say, why are you going to Substack? You need to do this. I'm going to do both, and I will hit my numbers. I promise. Because if I'm lying to you, I'm only lying to myself. So there we go.
I'll leave you with this thought. It is that the best thing we can do for ourselves is to unpack the things that are holding us back. More often than not, it is not the thing that's happening to you now that's holding you back. It's something that you believe about yourself, about others, about the world. The only constant in life is change. I didn't say that. That much smarter people than me said that. It might even have been Einstein. I don't know. But Einstein also said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Absolutely.
So the only thing you can do is take one small step.
Yep.
And keep
100%
on stepping.
agree. Yep. Pick up that sock, clean up that house, open the window, right? All of that.
Get that coat.
Yes. Oh, yes. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. The benefits of getting someone that you align with that can help you through the time, it's priceless, guys. It really, really is. And I don't care what level you are in your journey. Get someone that can help you, because this ride right now, especially where I'm located, has been very, 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 very revealing. That's it. That's all. This is William Rochelle, and I am signing off, and I'm heading to Substack with Kinga, maybe Gina. Anyone else want to meet us? We're going to be there. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Breaking news from William Rochelle. Breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. Yeah, yeah. Breaking news from William Rochelle. Living direct, here we go. Breaking news from William Rochelle. This is something you should know. This just in, don't miss the call. Your moments now. Stand tall, this just in. Here to tone your mind sharp, your future grown. Breaking news from William Rochelle. Breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. I said, breaking news from William Rochelle. Yeah, this just in, thought of the day, fresh new mindset coming your way. This just in, clear and bright, new perspective, new life. Breaking news from William Rochelle.